Right there. So as you walk in, you notice we have city departments represented all around the room. So feel free to get up and talk to any of them with some issues, any issues you may have, any concerns you may have. For the first time, as you'll notice, we have folks from the ASL, the American Sign Language Interpreters. So it's the first time that we're doing this at all of our meetings. First thing I'd like to do is introduce a number of folks that are here tonight. First of all, my staff, standing behind me. Jessica Beamer, Chief of Staff. Working in the back. Working on the spinning records back there, Catherine Cunningham, my Deputy Chief of Staff. Clarissa Perez, where's Clarissa? Back right, waving her hand. And Dustin Hodges, where's Dustin? Dustin, this is his first meeting, so Dustin took Jordan McGinty's place. So, where's Jordan? Jordan's here tonight. Where's Jordan?
Right here, Dave.
Right over there. Jordan's getting married in 2 weeks. So, we wish her all the best. Jordan used to work for our office for a number of years, but we had a little issue and we had to fire her. So, just kidding, but she is now Sally Alcorn's Chief of Staff. Sally Alcorn. I'll introduce them in a minute. Y'all come on. So with the number of city departments, we have Victor Ayers from Fleet. Victor. TJ Messiah from General Services. TJ, not too far from home. Takasha Francis, Department of Neighborhoods. There she is. Stephen Wright, Parks and Recreation. Stephen, if you haven't played Memorial Park Golf Course, you need to. Stephen can get you a really sweet tea time if you talk to him tonight. Carol Haddock, Director of Houston Public Works, who's been very, very helpful to us with our live over levels issue. We'll talk a little bit about that. Thank you. Greg Damianoff, the BARC Director. Greg. In the back, thank you. And third, Ted Urban, the Director of HTV. So we're live on HTV tonight. A number of my cohorts also here tonight. Councilmember Michael Knox. Not you, Michael Kubash. Put it down outside, put it on the inside, Michael Kubash. Michael Kubash. That's my best Michael Kubash impersonation. Council David Robinson, Councilmember David D. Robinson. And the new kid on the block, Councilmember Sally Alcorn. Sally is formerly Flood Czar Stephen Costello's Chief of Staff. And also James Koski, he's the Deputy Chief for the Mayor. Where's James? And also special thanks to Rhonda Sauter, who is the Mayor Citizen Assistant Office. She helped set up this meeting. And also Julia Depeche, the Director of Education, who laughs all the time. So, Mayor Turner's going to take us off. He's going to be the leadoff batter for the Houston Astros tonight. We're not stealing signals, so if you have garbage cans, please do not beat them till after the game. But Mayor has been very, very, very helpful for us in everything we've done back here for the last number of years. Instrumental in the dredging projects, both the San Jacinto River and the Malcar, and the continuous work. Matter of fact, on Thursday, Stephen Costello and I are heading to D.C. early in the morning, and on Thursday we have a meeting with Congressman Dan Crenshaw and FEMA to talk about additional dredging, which they did not approve. And Karen, stand up. Karen Cambio. Yeah. Not only is she works for Congressman Dan Crenshaw's office, but she is on the San Jacinto River Authority and was a dynamo last week. And we can't thank you enough. A lot of the things that we accomplished last week were because of Karen and Mark Micheletti, and I don't think Mark's here. Also, Casey Chrisman. Casey with Representative Dan Huberty's office, who was a stalwart last week as well. You know, we always talk about a team effort, and this was truly a team effort. We were clear and concise and cohesive. and I think that made a big difference. We were extremely professional, not like a lot of the other folks, hate to say that, but I think that went a long way with the board and then their final vote. But getting back to the mayor, a lot of the work on the interior drainage systems that we're doing right now with Harris County Flood Control, we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. Some of the issues that we're dealing with today on Perry Homes, and we'll have a little bit of an update on that as well. And then the seasonal lowering. Every time I went to Mayor Turner with a change, and we knew that the potential of getting nothing out of this was real, because we knew that the majority of the board was made up of folks upstream, not downstream. So while we tried to be forceful, we also tried to be fair. And I think that was one of the key things that we had. So as we had the recommendations that were coming from the mayor and his office and what we were able to do, he was very forthright and very instrumental in anything that we asked for, he gave us. And when the compromise came about, he agreed to the compromise at the last minute. The compromise we presented at the last minute. He didn't agree to it at the last minute, but it came at the last minute. And I think that made a big difference. So I'm proud to be standing here today and to give you the information that we will have seasonal lowering that begins on April 1st. And we will have seasonal lowering that begins on August 1st of this year as well. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on. Also, Director Tom McCaslin just walked in of Housing. Where's Tom? Tom McCaslin. There he is, Tom. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Mayor Turner for some comments. Thank you, Mayor, for being here tonight. He didn't get the announcement that this is formal attire. He came in his blue jeans and boots, so he's more a good Coach Texan than I am. So glad to have you here, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Mayor Pro Tem. I appreciate his leadership and his efforts, and I don't have to tell you how impactful he is, and the strong advocate, not just for District E, but for the city, as a whole. And I know he and Steve Costello are headed to D.C. tomorrow to continue to represent this district, as well as represent the interests of the city on tomorrow. Then it's always good to have members of City Council here. And again, I'm going to acknowledge them one more time, because what we do collectively. And so it's good to have Councilmember Mike Kubash and Mike Knox and Sally Alcorn, who is new with us, but represent the city as a whole, at large, just like Mike Knox, and then Councilmember Dave Robertson. So 3 of our at-large council members, all 4 are at-large council members that are here this evening, and I appreciate that. Let me just say from the outset, you know, in the past, we've labeled this like a CIP capital improvement project meeting. This one, we're going to change the timing. This one tonight is more of a community sort of meeting, not necessarily a CIP sort of meeting, because what we've discovered is that we put our CIP projects together fairly soon, and then we vote on these projects in June. And so when the meetings are taking place in the end of February into March, it really doesn't give us much time to take into account people's input on the CIP. So starting next year, we're going to switch these meetings to the fall, to like September, October. And then that'll give us a lot more time to incorporate people's thoughts into really having a CIP meeting. And so for tonight, you'll be hearing more from, of course, your council member. You'll be hearing more from Melissa Aho, who is our Chief Resilience Officer, as well as Steve Costello, who is the Chief Recovery Officer, who's been doing a lot of work on our infrastructure projects. So let me just cover a few things in general, and then I'm going to take my seat and attempt to be fairly brief. Let me say that today we had a press conference today dealing with overtime for HPD because I kind of look at the reports every other week to see where things are when it comes to robberies, burglaries, homicides, you name it. And so we are needing more police officers in the city of Houston. We now have about 5,300. We're over 200 more than what we had 4 years ago, but we need about another 600. But to complement or supplement what we have, authorized today an additional $1.5 million in overtime for a 6-month time period. And so that's taken effect as of today, to have a greater police presence on our streets throughout the city of Houston. But what we also find is that we need to augment that with technology enhancements, data analytics, additional eyes on our streets, because as we are noticing with more than the people are burglarizing or robbing people, they're dressed from, they're covered up from face down and all the way down. And so we need to be able to see the cars or the trucks or whatever the vehicles they're using to go from point A to point B. And we simply need more analytics, and that requires more technology enhancements. And so HPD has put forth their proposal for that. That's about $8.5 million, and we're asking the private philanthropic community to come and underwrite those particular proposals for that technology. So that took place on today as we move forward to make sure that we not only arrest the crime stats from going up, but we want to make this a safer city in which to be. So I'm looking forward to working with many of the stakeholders in order to address that. With respect to drainage, this is a community that's been built up since the 1970s, and so it's not about looking at drainage in any one sector. You almost have to analyze the drainage across the entire spectrum. And so we continue to work with the Harris County Flood Control District, of course, Public Works and others, to really do a total assessment of drainage throughout the entire Kingwood area, and we're working on that. We have completed the roadside ditch project at Hilltop and 6 storm sewer rehabilitation projects that have been completed, but we still have 3 roadside ditch projects to be completed, 2 out Fall, and 1 storm sewer project that's under construction. And so Carol Hack is here for Public Works, for anyone who may want to talk more about that. Dave made mention, for example, of additional projects, dredging that's taking place. Even though we've removed about 500,000 cubic yards of dredging at the Mount Bar, based on our own analysis, we think, I think Steve's going to correct, about another 1 million cubic yards that are needed. And so we're using funding that we received from the state, applying it on that, but that will not be enough. We need federal dollars, and we need those federal dollars like yesterday. Otherwise, we're going to run out of time. And so that's one of the reasons why they're heading to DC and making our case on dredging. We have the project to build the 10 spillway gates have been approved and fully funded. The contractor has already been selected, and so we're moving forward with that. And then the goal is to have that project completed within the next 2.5 or 3 years. So we're moving forward. We will continue to engage in the seasonal lowering, as you all know, and certainly appreciated what the San Francisco River Authority did the other night. So there are a number of things that we have that are taking place. With respect to roadside type projects, on the North Park Drive, we continue to work with the Turks on that project, and that's moving along. And then with respect to improvements to the Wake Lake Houston Parkway between North Park and Gardenwood, that project is scheduled to take off fairly soon and should be completed early, the latter part of this year. So there are a number of things that we're working on as it relates to this area. We look forward to continuing to work with you, whether it's on CIP projects or just things in general. And we're all here at your to assist and to move things forward in this district. And then we stop there and then turn it back over to the councilman.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
So we're going to have Q&A after all the presentations are done. So one of the things I wanted to talk about before I turn it over to Costello and we'll get into some of the projects is, if you go to the first slide, okay? One of the things that we did post the Elm Grove flood in North Woodland Hills was we had a lot of folks that were talking to us about storm sewers. Because quite frankly, the rain came so rapidly that the storm systems couldn't handle it. And so what we did was, we went around every neighborhood. So far, we've almost made half of them, where we're expecting every single storm drainage system in Kingwood. We started with Elm Grove. We just completed Kings Point just recently, and we're going to work our way all the way through to Woodstream Village. If you'll see those 4 pictures, that's what we're finding in every storm sewer. So the top two, those are the storm sewers that had the most amount of debris. And as you can see, there's no debris in them. That was just leaves that was left after some of the rain. And then the bottom two is what we're seeing consistently every day that we're back here. So we've been working hard on that because we wanted to make sure that we didn't have any clogging before the storm systems worked their water to Ben's Branch, Taylor Gully, eventually to the San Jacinto and the Gulf of Mexico. So we post these photos when we go to every neighborhood. We post them all that day on Facebook. So if you're on our Facebook, take a look at your neighborhood and look at your photos. If you ever see one of the inspection vehicles on your street, stop them and talk to them, and they'll allow you to go into their truck and to watch the video as the cameras are rolling through the storm sewers. So it gives us the ability to have more comfort in what our storm sewers look like, because a lot of the fingers were being pointed directly at storm sewers. So we started this initiative working with Director Haddock, and everything that we've seen, these systems have been perfectly clean. So if you're there in your neighborhood and you see them, stop to them and talk to them. One of the things we do have a problem with, if you go to the next slide, and I'll be meeting with the Trails Association. So St. Martha's Church flooded a couple of months ago. And what we found out is when we went to St. Martha's, we went to their parking lot. So their parking lot is a lot higher than the ground that surrounds them. So as you'll see in these areas, there's very little drainage. All the drainage that leads from the parking lot, eventually into Taylor's Gully, into Ben's Branch, and eventually down into the San Jacinto are clogged. They're clogged, and they're not the property of the City of Houston or Howard County Flood Control. They're the property of the Trails Association. So what we need to do is we're going to have a meeting with the Trails Association, and we're going to ask for their help with the remediation. As you can see on a number of these, you can see the pipes, but the pipes aren't sending the water down their intended path. So the water, in this case at St. Martha's, started backing up because it couldn't get to Ben's Branch, and eventually couldn't get to the San Jacinto, and eventually to the Gulf of Mexico. So what we're doing now is, since Howard County Flood Control had worked on Ben's Branch where we did the desilting, so the next step is working with the Trails Association so that the movement of water can happen. It's a systematic approach. We have to get rid of the water within the interior of Kingwood. We have to have it go to the San Jacinto where we don't have any sediment sitting there that clogs the path. Eventually around the turn to the Mount Bar area into the lake, which we're working on now, and eventually to the channel of the Gulf of Mexico where it's all released. So there's very little drainage that we're seeing in the drains in this area as well, and everything's pointing to all these clogs that we have on some of these interior systems. As we learned when we went after Ben's Branch and did the remediation there, a lot of people think that when the City of Houston annexed Kingwood, they own everything. That's not the case. For instance, in the Ben Branch area, a little bit north of St. Martha's Catholic Church, we had about 5 entities that own the easements for those land, one of which is still Friendswood. Friendswood still owns a lot of easements back here. It literally took us, 6 months to work through over a year to work through an easement, access to the easement, to start doing the desilting of Ben's Branch through Friendswood. And so we're working on those, and every time we come across a different entity, it's really amazing to us as how many parties actually have property back here that prevents us, because you just can't drop a dredge into a water or a channel and start pulling stuff out. You have to work through the legal process. You went the San Jacinto, what are we doing here? Next, okay. The seasonal lowering. I'm sure everybody heard about this, but our opinion and everybody there, it was a success. It was a success because we continue with season lowering. Why is season lowering important? I'm going to show you a video as to why it's very important to what we have going on. Lake Houston will continue to be lowered based on the inclement weather. So we have seasonal lowering in Lake Conroe. The mayor and Director Haddock have been very helpful for us to release water out of Lake Houston when we see impending rain coming our way, so that we build up capacity in Lake Houston. So we have capacity to the north of us in Conroe by the Cecil and Lowering. We have capacity in Houston, and it gives us the ability to take on a little bit more additional rainwater. So beginning April 1st, we will lower it from Conroe sits at 201 feet above sea level. So that will be lowered to 200 in April and May, and then it will be refilled, or what do we call it? Recaptured beginning June 1st. And then when hurricane season comes, on August 1st, we're going to go from 201 to 200 again on August 1st. Now, the history, and if you look at the data, we've never had the lower water out of Lake Conroe because Mother Nature in absorption has taken care of that. But we also put in a caveat that effective September 1, we will take it another 6 inches down to 199.5. And then that's always, the city of Houston owns 66% of the water in Lake Conroe. The city of Houston owns 100% of the water in Lake Houston. The city of Houston owns 75% of the water in Lake Livingston. So I throw that caveat out there because the city of Houston always has the ability to ask Lake Conroe and the San Jacinto River Authority to release more water out of their lake and into our lake if we need it for drought conditions, if we need it for drinking water, or if we see a storm that's in the Gulf of Mexico and we need to get ahead of that system, because as many people know, it takes us 24 hours to get rid of a foot of water in Lake Houston. So we have that ability to do those types of projects. So about 3 weeks ago, we had Channel 13, Ted Oberg, in Lake Houston. I don't know how many people saw it. Raise your hand if you saw it. Okay, we're going to repeat it. But why I think this is important is because I wish I could have shown this to the San Jacinto River Authority, because it gives you a great visual on what our lake looks like. And you'll see in the video Ted Oberg getting out of the boat and walking. I call it Oberg walks on water. He was literally walking on water because the water did not get above his ankle. So seasonal lowering is critical to our success as a neighborhood because we don't have any holding capacity in that lake like we used to. So when rainwater comes our way, or when water is released from the San Jacinto River Authority down the San Jacinto River into Lake Houston, the holding capacity of Lake Houston just isn't what it used to be. So if you'll click that video, turn the lights down a little bit if you don't mind. I can't sing for that one, trust me. I can't dance either. Mayor can dance. My wife's a big This Is Us fan. It's on right now, so maybe she's trying to tell me something. I go in the other room and watch ESPN. All right, should we skip it or what? Just the Wi-Fi? Not good. We'll give it one more second and then we'll go to the next slide. That was a heck of a report. It really was. Yeah, can you help us get another cable company out here? Another traffic. All right, scrap it. See if we can get it to work back there. Okay, go to the next slide, please. Okay, Ben's Branch. We started at Kingwood Drive and we went south, working with Harris County Flood Control. And there's the before and there's the after. So this project is eventually going to take us all the way from Kingwood Drive down to the San Jacinto. I went back here on Sunday and it really looks good. I mean, the work that we're having done right here is really going to be a big improvement as to what it was. And this is the reason why folks in the Enclave and the YMCA and part of Kingwood Greens flooded, is because of the buildup of the sediment that we had in May of 2019 after that, even before Harvey, and this is what it looks like today. So just a massive improvement. And I can't thank Harris County Flood Control enough about working with us and making sure that we have the ability to do projects like this. One thing about what I'll mention before I turn it over to Stephen is I just paid my tax bill. And when I paid my tax bill, I always divide it into how much money I pay the school district, how much money I pay the city of Houston, how much money I pay Harris County, and how much money I pay Lone Star and everything. I'm not going to tell you how much I paid, but I'll tell you the percentages I had. Humble ISD, I paid my tax bill, 56.4% of my tax bill went to Humble ISD. 18.8% went to the city of Houston. And Alan Brown always rips me apart about taxes that he pays in the city of Houston, and probably will tonight as well. But 56 Humble ISD, nobody shows up for those elections. City of Houston, 18.8, and Harris County, take a guess, 14.4. So the reason why I bring that up is that we need to get Harris County to do more work in Kingwood, because they've never done work in Kingwood until recently. Beth, no offense, so take that message back. There she is. We pay a lot of money to Harris County, and we're going through a situation with Perry Homes right now where we're working towards getting them to sell us that land. And what we'd like to do is to take that land and turn it into detention facilities so that water never gets close to us. When we can do that, we can work on a number of channels that Stephen may talk about, and that is the diversion ditch, Ben's Branch, and some of the tributaries that aren't working the way they should be because we have a situation north of us that doesn't allow it to work as a systematic approach. So when we went to the polls in August of 2018 for Harris County's $2.5 billion bond referendum, this area and you folks passed that citywide. We turned out in droves. And one of the things that they had on their list was to use some of the money they got from us, the taxpayers, who paid 14.4% of our money to Harris County, to purchase land, not in Harris County, but in Montgomery County, and to use this land to create detention and retention facilities. Exactly what this Perry Homes land can be used for. So I've had discussions with Jack Cagle about that, and he wants the city to contribute half of it. And quite frankly, I'm not going to ask the mayor to contribute half, because they should be contributing 100% of it, because we gave them our tax dollars, and they specified what these tax dollars should be used for. So they need to come up with 100%. I happened to represent the mayor who was in Orlando at a mayor's convention over the weekend at an engineering event on Friday night, and I sat next to Judge Hidalgo. And I was in her ear for 30 minutes on this exact thing, telling her, so much so that after her speech, Stephen was there, after her speech, she said, I have another event tonight, so I'm gonna have to get to it. I was thinking that she didn't want to hear me complaining anymore, so she was getting back out of there. But anyway, I talked to Judge Hidalgo about this. I said, we gave you the money. You have it. You collected from the taxpayer. Put it to use and make sure we have the ability to do that. So the reason why I'm saying that is reach out to your elected Harris County officials and mandate that they start spending money in our area. Matt Zeed, John Branch, Russ Poppy, all those guys have been tremendous to us. We need to have a continuation of that and make sure that we have the projects back here. Are you trying to tell me that the video works now? All right. We have to let the ad run. So contact your elected officials that represent you in Harris County and let's get them to help us with the Perry Home situation, because as Beth and I can tell you, we're that close to making it happen. And when we make it happen, not only does it help Elm Grove, North Woodland Hills, but it helps everybody downstream of that. And guess who that is?
That fell north of Houston during Hurricane Harvey washed downstream and picked up literally tons of sand as it came down the San Jacinto River. When all that sand got to the mouth of Lake Houston, it stopped right here. It is making flooding even worse, and it will continue to, which is why ABC 13 reporter Ted Ober went to see how they are trying to get rid of this one shovel at a time.
Even with the shovel size kids on the beach could only dream of, it is still slow work dismantling an island. Shovel by shovel, it will take months to get rid of all this sand, far longer than it took to ever build it.
All this that you see right here is a direct result of Hurricane Harvey.
An island hundreds of feet long, 6 feet above the surface of the water. No one wants it here. In fact, people in Kingwood and nearby can't wait to get rid of it. They say it's only making flooding worse.
This sand is scaring people to death.
We wound up getting about 3 feet of water in the house.
Barry Madden lost 2 homes that day. This one, near the West Fork of the San Jacinto, he raised his family in for 20 years and was days away from selling. And he lost the one in Kingwood he was renovating to move into.
3 years later, did you think you'd be where you are today?
No, I didn't.
Madden's riverfront land is now the dump site for all that sand. The city is paying him a fee, but less, he and Councilman Dave Martin say, than it would cost the city to truck the sand somewhere else. The money for the whole project came partially from FEMA, but more recently from the State Water Board and the governor's office.
Hopefully it'll go from the river up to that white fence up there. Build it probably up 4 feet all the way across.
That's a lot of sand.
That's a lot of sand.
But even that may not be enough.
It looks nice and pretty, but I pull people off of that sand on a daily basis. Oh, that's not bad.
The councilman and HPD Lake Patrol challenged me to get in the lake midwinter to see just how seriously shallow it is.
The fact that this water is only 6 inches deep means it can't hold anything that's coming downriver, and the water just backs up into all those homes. That's what happened in Harvey. That's what's going to happen during the next storm.
Which is why even with this $36 million project ongoing, the city and especially people in Kingwood continue to fight for even more money to keep dredging.
You can't make a guarantee they're not going to flood again, can you?
No. Unless we can get this lake to back where it was in 2016 before Harvey came our way.
Wow.
Yeah, it is such a massive problem out there.
Okay, no, when I'm looking at the images, it looks so overwhelming. It looks like something that would take 10 years to get through. What was it like being there in person?
It's amazing. So the island is just to the left of where we're looking at now, and this is hundreds of feet from shore where we're walking in ankle deep water. That island is hundreds of feet long, and they hope to get rid of that. But they really need to work to get rid of what's below the water.
Right, because right now, the money is only being used to remove this sand that we're seeing from our eye. But
What you can see right there, that's what they have the money to pay for. And it is good news. Part of the Harvey recovery is good news that this is happening. We talk a lot of bad news. This is good news, but there needs to be more of it.
we need a lot more of it. All right, well, we're happy to see the good news that's happening, shovel by shovel out there, Ted, as long as that takes. Thanks.
Thank you. And it is good news. We have a lot of great projects going on in this area right now. And he mentions 36 million. Representative Dan Hubert is responsible for 30 million of that. That just doesn't happen. Yes, please. By the way, we're only voting bills till Friday. This political announcement not paid for by Dan Huber. But anyway, but we need to make sure that we have the ability to do this on an ongoing basis. In the last budget, the mayor agreed to help us with an ongoing 365-day-a-year dredging project. And we're looking, thank you. And we have some for that. No one works harder than Stephen Costello. And some of the things, he went to Austin today to appear at a hearing and wasn't able to be a part of the hearing because he had to get back here. And then we're leaving on an 8 o'clock flight in the morning to go to Washington and coming back on Friday. So that's this guy's commitment. So thank him as well. We're really blessed with a lot of really great elected officials in this area. And the governor's been gracious to us. The mayor has been gracious to us. Representative Huberty, Congressman Crenshaw. I can't say enough about his diligence and his stick-to-itiveness and his ability to help us. And we'll get there. We'll get there. But I think this was a great illustration of what this lake about another hurricane, because we just don't have the holding capacity for that water, which is why it's vastly important to work with folks like Director Carol Haddock when we see water and rain coming, that we can pre-release that water. There was an article in the paper today that talked about pre-releasing water all over the United States, and I sent it to the San Jacinto River Authority. And I said, yeah, pre-releasing of water, it works. We've pre-released water from Lake Houston 10 times. It's never been done until we started doing it. 10 times, and we're 10 for 10 because we've been right on. But guess what? One of these times we're going to miss it. We're going to miss it where we take out water and the rain doesn't come, and then we have a drought. Or we're going to take out water and we don't get ahead of it and more rain comes. So it's a never-ending 365 days a year, 24 hours a day job. So thanks for all the work that everybody's doing in this area. It's a community effort. It's not just the elected officials. It's folks in this room that have been a vital part of it by showing up last Thursday with your white shirt on and making a difference. And it made a difference. So I'm here to thank you for doing what you do as citizens and keeping on top of this, because it is a community-wide effort. So with that, I'll throw it over to Flood Czar Stephen Costello.
So if it's okay with everybody, I'm going to kind of stand sideways so I can see what you're going to be seeing. Could you turn down the lights just a little bit more, please? Is that okay? So, thank you, Dave. By the way, Councilmember Martin was at a Engineer of the Year Award banquet Friday. And as he was leaving, I just happened to see him while I was in the parking lot, and he said, "Steve, I will never go to another engineering event again." By the way, how many of us are engineers or retired engineers?
The most boring people in the world. They are, and I have 3 kids that are engineers. It's the most boring event I've ever been to.
Thank you, Councilmember Martin. So what I would like to do is to just walk you through the Harvard recovery effort and the things that the city has to do or will be doing over at least the next 5 to 10 years. And so, so this is an exhibit that just shows who we deal with. And basically we deal with 2 federal agencies, FEMA and HUD, and 2 state agencies. The Texas Division of Emergency Management for FEMA funds, and the Government Land Office, GLO, for HUD funds. And so we work through this in 2 types of programs. One is recovery, and then the other is what we call mitigation. And so on the recovery side, we talk a little bit about what is called public assistance. That's FEMA's program. It's called 404, Public Assistance Program. And so I know you can't do that. And so every meeting that I go to publicly, I bring this exhibit up. This is the exhibit that shows the process the city goes through the minute a facility is flooded, and we figure out what the damages are. And by the time you get to the far right of that particular exhibit, which is 47 steps, 1 state agency, 4 separate audits, 2 audits within FEMA, 1 audit up in Washington, the money finally flows down to us at 1 facility. 1 facility. We have over 500 that have been damaged and we're trying to repair. So this is a little bit of the frustration in terms of recovery. So here we have in Harvey, I'll go back one. So this is just a pie chart of all the facilities that have been impacted by Harvey. And the lion's share of those facilities is really public works. The other parts of the pie chart on the right side of the pie chart are the other facilities, which would be buildings, parks, just those other facilities. But the lion's share is really public works. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. So this is a couple of the areas that were flooded, that we're on that timeline that chart I showed you. So for instance, on the fire station has been repaired. So now we're going through the auditing process to get money back for the repair. We're also considering possibly moving the fire station. So there's a program that allows you to fund part of that activity. So we're going through that. The other two are in various stages of either design or in the programming part dealing with FEMA. So those are just a couple of the, what we call the public assistance, which is the city-owned facilities. So here, I know this is hard to see. So on the public works side, the balance of the facilities that the city owned that were flooded in Keywood were wastewater facilities, whether it was a wastewater treatment plant or a number of the lift stations. So this is a composite of all of the wastewater facilities in Keywood. And so what we're doing now in dealing with FEMA is looking at a way to consolidate the system. And so if there's any silver lining from Harvey, is that there is money available to do things that we didn't really have in the past. So what we're going to be looking at is, we first figure out the facilities that were damaged. We have a cost number. Then we figure out how much it would take to bring up the current standards. We have another cost number. Then we figure out how much we mitigate those facilities in place. We have another number. And then what we do is we add those all together, and we put them together to see if we can consolidate the system to get rid of several of the treatment plants and a number of the lift stations. So it's a consolidation. So this is where FEMA will help us in doing that. So this is one of our long-term plans that we're currently working on. So on the, this was described at the last meeting we were here. This is the CDBG DR HUD money for housing and housing recovery. And this is a number of programs. It's the homeowners assistance program, multifamily. We can help people build a new house. We can help people get mortgages. So this is some of the programs that we were talking about. Buyout is one that we're very, very interested in. So what I wanted to talk about is now we're on the FEMA side again, and this is what's called Hazard Mitigation Grant. And on the Hazard Mitigation Grant program, right after Harvey, FEMA gave the state of Texas $820 million for hazard mitigation grant projects. When they had a call for projects from the entire community, from Rockport to Beaumont Port Arthur, they ended up getting requests for over $9 billion worth of projects. Well, they didn't have the money for that. So then what happens is you then go through an application process. And as you go through the application process, TM manages the program at the state level, and then goes ahead and sees a project as viable when they advance it to FEMA. FEMA is the ultimate say-so of whether or not a project is funded or not. Fortunately, we have 4 projects, 3 of which have been approved for funding, and one that is still at FEMA's office waiting for approval, which is on the far west side. The one that's right here downtown is North Canal. That is the largest hazard mitigation grant project in the state of Texas. So we're really excited about that. But this is the one I'm going to talk about is Lake Houston. And so here we are. This is, obviously this is a dam structure. Originally, when we prepared the application, the thought process was that we wanted to add gates to the existing gate structure. And I think I brought this up in October, when I was here in October, that the left side is where the thought process is that we're going to put the gates. The upper right is a possible alternative solution. Why is that? Why are we looking at that? We're looking at that because environmentally wise, it's probably easier to construct rather than dealing with the existing structure and its gates. So in the design phase of this project, we will be looking at that. So as the mayor had said, the consultant has been selected for the project. We anticipate them being under design, probably under contract and design activity starting in April. The goal is to have the gates constructed by the end of 2022. The mayor has reminded me that all those 4 projects that we are working on in the prior exhibit better be done before he leaves in 2023, Mayor, is that right? So that's our commitment, is to get these projects done as quickly as possible. The challenge that we have, though, is what happens is that FEMA, when they approve a project, they appropriate all the money, and they set it aside, but they only approve the first phase. So the first phase is design, permitting, environmental. So that's what we're going through right now. And then there'll be another decision-making process to fund the construction. The estimated construction cost is a little over $47, almost $48 million. So it's really a really good project. So I want to just briefly go through, I'll go really quickly through these exhibits. This is the progression on the dredging. So this is the first leg that the Corps did. Estimated it was about $69 million to actually do the dredging, of which the city had to put up 10% of those funds once the project was closed out. This is sort of a blow-up of it right there. And then this here is the segment that they were doing called the mission assignment extension. So combine the first mission with this mission assignment extension, you can see they're going south of the Malcar. So that was a total of $90 million. And so we were required to put up a total $9 million of the $90 million. So here we are. So this is a blow-up of what the Corps did in terms of their mission assignment extension. You can see they stayed well below the Malcar. So we have requested that FEMA pick up and continue to do dredging around the other side of the Malcar. And so that's why my former colleague and now my council member, he and I are going to Washington to talk to Congressman Crenshaw, to talk to him about telling FEMA that we want this done. And we're waiting for the final authorization to get this done. So this has been sort of in the FEMA, what we call the FEMA portal, for several months now. So they're really kind of dragging their feet. So we're a little concerned about that. Where we are right now is right at the Malcar, because it was evident that the Malcar was there prior to Harvey. See, FEMA won't pay for stuff that was there before Harvey. They'll pay for stuff that's around Harvey. And that's important because anything that FEMA does, they spend $9, we pay $1. But now this other stuff we're doing, we're paying 100% of the cost. So right now what we're doing is we're dredging the Malcar with funds from the governor's office. We have about between $6 and $7 million left over. And then funds from what we call the Uberty Amendment to Senate Bill 500, which was a $30 million that was granted to Harris County. And then Harris County then turned around and sub-granted to us $10 million. So we have about $17 million to dredge right there at the Malcar. So that's where we are today with that going on. But we would be, so this is again, by the way, Mr. Madden, it's his property that we're disposing this act on. Originally, we thought about doing hydraulic dredging, so the line connecting the locations was really ideal. It was going to be pipes, just like what the Corps did. We realized that mechanical dredging was easier and quicker. So that's why you see what they're doing now. We call that mechanical dredging. But she called it, the reporter called it a bucket. That's a really big bucket, or shovel. I was surprised by it. But we would be remiss if we didn't do anything to prevent this from being silted up again. Comment we're getting a lot from FEMA saying, well, wait a minute, if we give you all this money through all this dredging, what are you going to do about preventing in the future? So we have ongoing thought processes. We're meeting with San Jacinto River Authority, we're meeting with Montgomery County and Harris County to talk about, are there ways that we can capture the silt and the sand upstream before it comes into the west fork of the San Jacinto? And so that's what we're working on right now. Fortunately, there was, I believe it was House Bill 1824 that now permits Harris County or the San Jacinto River Authority from excavating material out of the river without paying a stipend to the state. Because the way the state has it right now is if you take sand out of the river, you have to pay the state a stipend for the amount of sand you take out. Now they waived that because of this type of program that we're going to try to be setting up. So we're really excited about that. So then also the last tranche of money, which is not available just yet, is what we call CDBG MIT. And so in February 2018, the federal government appropriated about $9 billion for CDBG MIT for disasters that occurred in 2015, 2016, and 2017. And so GLO is managing that program. What came down to the state as a result of that appropriation was $4.3 billion. And so the state has prepared an action plan, of which about $2.1 billion will be used for Harvey projects on a competitive basis. So they have submitted an action plan for HUD to approve. Once that action plan gets approved by HUD, then we will be submitting very large what we call mitigation flood control projects with our other agencies, which would be Harris County Flood Control District, to take advantage of some of those funds. We anticipate it could be as much as $600 million in capital projects for the city, and possibly the same $600 million for Harris County Flood Control District. So this is really a great program. In addition to that, what I highlighted down there, at the top is, we also got, as part of that appropriation, a direct allocation of $61 million. That sounds like a lot, but in terms of capital projects, it's not really. So Public Works is preparing a laundry list of projects so that we can spread that $61 million around the 11 districts. And the mayor will be reviewing those projects once they are set up sometime in the next month. So that's where we are with all the programs. I'm going to stop here and turn the rest of the presentation over to Marissa Aho, who is the resiliency officer. She's going to show you a little bit of exciting plan, but I'll be here for the rest of the evening if anyone wants to talk about our program. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Where we go? 1 year after Hurricane Harvey, Houston joined another 100 cities around the world as part of the 100 Resilient Cities. And after 18 months of work with Houstonians and local, national, and global resilience building partners, Mayor Turner released Resilient Houston nearly 2 weeks ago. This is the document. It's available online. So it's my opportunity tonight to talk to you a little bit about, give you a quick preview about what is in Resilient Houston. And also, tonight is my one-year anniversary with the city, and so I'm very excited to be celebrating with all of you. So resilience is, of course, as you know, the capacity to survive, adapt, and thrive no matter what sort of issues come along. And that includes both chronic stresses and acute shocks. And so what we've done over the last 18 or so months is really look at what those priorities are for all of Houston. I'm not sure you can see this very well, so apologies. But we've really tried to focus in 5 major areas. They include equity and inclusion, health and safety, the economy and infrastructure, living with water and climate, and housing and mobility, and the various different stresses and shocks that are included under each of those, and there's really too many to name. So what we've done is take all of those and create a vision for a more resilient Houston, which includes a healthy place to live, an equitable, inclusive, and affordable city, a leader in climate adaptation, a city that goes up and not out, and a transformative economy that builds forward. The plan has 18 goals and targets and 62 separate actions within 5 chapters. So over time, we'll be tracking our progress on moving forward with each of these goals, targets, and actions. And this plan is a way for everyone to hold the city accountable and all of our partners accountable. And we look forward to coming back to you with updates periodically on our progress. So, the 5 chapters. First chapter is about building individual resilience for families, for individual property owners, for small businesses, really at a small scale. The second chapter has actions for building neighborhood resilience, really recognizing that each neighborhood, as you all know, has different priorities for resilience building, which could be flooding, it could be housing affordability, it could be air quality, and we need to bring the resilience conversations to that neighborhood scale as much as possible. The third chapter has actions for building resilient bayous and living safely with water in our watershed systems throughout the city. The fourth chapter is focused on city resilience by leading an example, by building resilient infrastructure, and by integrating resilience into every department through the appointment of departmental resilience officers that will work with me and many of our partners to implement this work. And then the fifth chapter is focused on regional resilience, knowing that our current and future resilience challenges don't know jurisdictional boundaries, and there needs to continue to be alignment between our partners, Harris County Flood Control, Metro, and so on, looking at how to continue to work together and integrate our resilience work on a regional scale with national and global partners. So for more information on Resilient Houston, visit Mayor Turner's website on the Chief Resilience Officer's page. I'm happy to answer questions later. Thank you very much.
So the last presentation is regarding North Park Drive. Stan Song, who heads up the tax increment and investment zone, will walk us through a couple of slides, and then we'll have Q&A, and then get everybody out of here. So Stan Song.
Thank you, Dave, and appreciate the opportunity to be in here. I want to first of all thank all of you, and many of y'all were here for our open house on February the 6th, where our consultants gave you an opportunity to look at the preliminary planning. We do have back in the corner here, HNTB has bought some of the drawings that we had on February the 6th. Again, we also have some videos available back there dealing with a concept of some landscaping that we're looking at, including some detention storage, possibly there at North Park Drive and I-69. Along with that, there are also some 3D models that they have available back there. The critical thing I need from you is, as we mentioned at the February the 6th meeting, we want the public to give us any comments that you have by March the 1st, which is next week. We do have some forms back there that are North Park Overpass Project community input forms. We would like for you to fill those out with any comments or questions you've got associated with that. We're going to combine all those together during the month of March and then respond back to everyone. There's also a fact sheet back there available. Again, I won't go through that on what we're proposing on doing as part of the North Park Drive project. And then also there's one other map that's back there that shows based on the Kingwood Mobility Study and North Park Drive, the future projects that we're looking at doing in the next 5 years. Those are the main things. We're moving along rapidly. I had a meeting today with Harris County Flood Control and our 5 engineers, hydraulic folks, to talk more and to work with flood control to work out the drainage along North Park Drive and its impact as far as the Kingwood diversion issues. So those are moving along rapidly. We're still on schedule. We are working with contacting the various property owners to obtain right-of-way. And thank you, Carol and the Mayor Turner, for the funding they've given us. Their property, we're eventually going to get $15.4 million. We've received $6 million from the city, and most of that money is being used to acquire right-of-way and to start and to continue with the design. And I thank y'all again for that help. But without those funding, the Lake Houston Redevelopment Authority and Juris 10 could not alone fund all the bond capability that we would need for this westerly project. We're still on schedule to try to have this project under construction during the first quarter of next year in 2021, and construction will take approximately 20 to 24 months. And then once that project gets further along, our funding with the Houston Galveston Area Council is anticipated to get the federal funding in 2023. That'll be 80% of the easterly portion from Russell Palmer to Woodland Hills Drive, and the other 20% will be funded by the Lake Houston Redevelopment Authority. So we're moving along. We've heard your comments as far as the mobility study, and we're moving, I know, not quite as fast as Mayor Pro Tem Dave Martin would like us to be. We would have been nice to have shovels in the ground a year or two ago, but we're working as quickly as we can to meet all the criteria. Thank you all very much. The total cost of both projects is around 80 million. This first project is right at 40 million. So we're moving along rapidly. Thank you.
All right, so time for Q&A. So if you have a question, comment, 2 mics on the side, please give us your name and fire away. 2 minutes and be respectful, as Jessica said. I wouldn't expect anything less. Ivan from Senator Brandon Creighton's office is in the back on the phone. So.
Steve Chapman.
A resident of Foster's Mill. I wanted to ask about the hydraulic dredging that we were hearing about from FEMA, but a second question on the sand mining as well. What is the prognosis there on finding some of these sand people, and where are we going on the sand mining, which is an issue?
Setting them off, so you're going to have to contact her.
So on the capture plan, so we will be trying to work with the sand mine operators to help us develop the program. So if you think about it, we're going to try to develop 3 or 4 locations where we can capture the sand in the river. But we need someone or some entity to maintain it and dig the sand out. And so that's going to be one of the issues we're going to be working with those sand mine operations. Now, relative to their operations themselves, that's sort of not really my pay grade, it's above my pay grade. So if there's any issues relative to their impacts on the community downstream, I would be happy to sit down and talk to you all about that. But I know that's an issue with Representative Rubin, and I know it's an issue with some of the other representatives here locally. But I'm working possibly with them for a capture plan to prevent sand from coming into the community.
So do we know the fines? They raised the fines for the sand mining companies that put sand into our waters. I'm not sure. Casey, do you have an update on that? So you have to penalize them at a greater amount of money than they are charged.
Yes.
Because it's cheaper for them to sometimes let it go than to capture it.
Yeah, right. But we actually increased the fines, yes, you're doing it too, it's fine. The maximum amount of fine that we can issue on a daily basis, and then as well, how frequently we can inspect the sites in the last legislative session, and on top of the how much can accumulate in fines.
What we're seeing in the San Jacinto River is the sand's still coming. We did all the dredging, and yet the sand still continues to come. So this capture program that Stephen talks about is critical to our success, because we have to stop the sand from entering the river and getting into the lake. There's our big issues, and we're working towards that. Next question. Yes, sir, Darryl.
Hello. First, I'd like to thank Dave Martin, Mayor Turner, and the entire City Council for everything they're doing here in Kingwood as far as flood mitigation. Huge thank you. The question I have is, our neighbor, Montgomery County, what is being done between Harris and Montgomery County, the City of Houston, besides the Lake Conroe initiative, as far as the lake lowering, to address silt issues in the West Fork, west of 59, and silt issues in the East Fork? Because pretty soon we're going to be having issues coming out of the East Fork with all the new construction going on with 99 and the new Valley Ranch extensions. So what is going on with that?
We implemented the Lake Houston Maintenance Program, #1. I had lunch 2 weeks ago with Judge Mark Kehoe from Montgomery County. I'll answer it. I don't know if the mayor has any comments about this. I don't think there's a really plan with the 2 counties, with Harris County and Montgomery County. And I hate to say that. I've talked to Judge Kehoe about it, and we've agreed that we're going to meet on a continuous basis and make sure that I have the ability to protect the neighborhood that I represent and then let Harris County and Montgomery County work on the other initiatives that could help in other areas. But my number one concern, as Harris County touches Montgomery County, is Kingwood in doing that. So we're trying to develop some things where we can work together. I think the most important thing that we can do moving forward is to purchase the land that Perry Homes now owns, and to create detention facilities up there. I think that's the number one priority that we have in this area, to make sure that the water stays up in Montgomery County and doesn't get down to us. But, you know, looking at it from a Montgomery County perspective, Judge Keough pushed back on that. The reason why is because, okay, let's talk economics. There could be 300 homes bringing good tax revenue into Montgomery County that I want to go away. So I want to take their tax base, which could be millions of dollars, and turn it into zero by us purchasing the land and doing the retention projects. But he gets it and he understands it, and he wants to work with us on it. So he's been a big help for me, at least. Yes, Beth, I'll let you go first.
Mr. Mayor, first of all, I already thanked you, but I'm going to thank you again for everything you've done on behalf of my neighborhood. I feel like you actually are working for us. I have a situation now that I want to just kind of put in your ear. I know we're trying to do this buyout with Perry Homes, and I hope it goes through. You and I, Dave, have spitballed that from the beginning to the end. My problem is that you put a cease on these folks, and I have them building and pouring concrete out there. I have them putting drains in out there, and they're not acting like they're going to be selling that property. And I'm concerned that maybe they're kind of talking out of both sides of their face to try to limit all of this. And I'd like to ask the city to maybe get a little bit more engaged. They're continually dumping sand, silt, and sediment into the drinking supply of Lake Houston. I mean, I've got pictures of it almost daily. So if we can maybe take a look at that and maybe utilize that as a way to twist the screws a little bit to help expedite this. I've got 500 people that are one flood from homeless. So I need to make sure this keeps going and we don't lose momentum. Last but not least, we need extra garbage pickup. I've got houses with garbage that are as high as their roof lines because these contractors are still just now getting the full. So you've tried, Justin's tried. I'm coming to you directly and saying, can you help Elm Grove and get us some extra heavy trash pickups out there? You've been phenomenal, but since we started it and stopped it in January, we've just got it coming out the wazoo over there.
I know there Anthony is here from Solid Waste, representing Harry Hayes. I know Solid Waste immediately after Tropical Storm Imelda really worked in that area, and I'll get with Harry Hayes again on tomorrow, and we can discuss that. With respect to the development itself, I know they're providing us with periodic reports to the city legal department, to Ron Lewis, in terms of where they are on continuing the detention efforts that they committed to doing. They are waiting to see whether or not any action is going to be taken by the Harris County Flood Control District in terms of purchasing them. And at the same time, I know how can I put it, what's being said to them is that their price is too high, they need to come down. So we'll see what takes place between them and Harris County Flood Control District. But we will continue to monitor that situation, and I'll get with Ron Lewis as well of the city legal department to make sure that we are holding them to the agreements that they made with us.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And we talk about community involvement. Beth is a living, breathing example of this. Beth, your work has been tremendous for your neighborhood. I hope people in your neighborhood appreciate that. I know they do. Make sure you get with the director from Solid Waste, and let's get something on the docket. Yes, sir.
The fines for the putting the sand into the river, has ever been looked at to charge the mining companies a severance tax of X number of dollars for every ton they take out, and that tax put into a big bucket, and that bucket used for dredging the river on an ongoing basis?
Yeah, I mean, it's a state issue. I know that when it was State Representative Turner, he probably could have helped it, but now he's Mayor Turner. That's a Huberty and Brandon Creighton issue, and I know that they've been fighting hard on that behalf. But I know every bit of sand they pull out, they have to pay a royalty to the state of Texas. I'm not quite sure where that money goes, to be honest with you. I don't know.
So the money goes to Texas Parks and Wildlife?
Texas Parks and Wildlife?
But most of the dredging operation is occurring on private property, so they don't have to pay anything to the state.
So since most of the land is on private property, they don't pay anything to the state. Maybe we need a legislative fix to that. That's what I would suggest.
Good suggestion. Thank you.
Any more questions? Yes, sir.
I guess this question is you, Jason. You talked about the storm sewer cleanouts. You had a list of neighborhoods, and mine wasn't listed. I was wondering, is there a schedule on when they're going to be in certain neighborhoods, and so we can maybe talk to the folks like you said?
Prioritize the houses impacted during the meltdown, but we'll take your neighborhood down and give you the exact date. But yeah, we have neighborhoods that we moved up and down according to what we thought the damage was, so we'll make sure that we
drains, and I didn't see that neighborhood list, and I was wondering if that was done already, or had been scheduled.
We'll double check, but, yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, I've lived here 40 years, and Harvey flooded me. A lot of it was due to the operation of the Lake Conroe Dam. And the delayed operation, we released the water from the volume of the 2 lakes. I was familiar with the 94 flood. I had a one of the water districts here. My engineer's dad was in charge of the dam. He was unable to hold the problem there at that time, and he thought it was going to be disastrous. He released the water at 30,000 cubic feet per minute. Now, according to the newspaper report, it came down at 90,000 cubic feet per minute. And that is not 24 hours from Lake Conroe to Houston at no rate. I don't know how, it might be 4 hours, 5 hours. But I flooded about 4 feet of water, never had any problems before. Who is going to monitor the operation? There's a general manager up there. Even when the river authority 4 days earlier had authorized the release of water that wasn't released for 3.5 to 4 days.
So your question is, who is going to monitor it? So we now have 2 board members that live downstream, Mark Micheletti and Carmen Cambio. They're part of the decision-making process. Based on what I witnessed last week, I think we have a number of folks that understand that. And hopefully we'll be able to have our board members work on our behalf so if that event does happen again, we'll have taken the water down, so we're building up more capacity, because at 207, we know that they send the water in big chunks at us, but it's the ultimate responsibility of the board members of the San Jacinto River Authority, who are appointed by the governor of the state of Texas.
Well, the governor of Florida ordered all the reservoirs lowered by 3 feet after Harvey hit here. Is the governor ultimately responsible, or is the mayor with his 67% responsible?
No, it's the San Jacinto River Authority and the general manager, Jay Houston, and the board members that are appointed by the governor of the state of Texas. We can influence by cooperating with them, which we witnessed last Thursday. So I think we're off to a good start. I'm not going to look back, I'm going to look forward. I think we have a good game plan, and I think it's worked last year, and let's keep praying, and let's hope it works this year. And when we see a name store coming into the Gulf of Mexico, Director Haddock and I have had this conversation, and the mayor, we're going to call for additional water if it's necessary. And we're going to do the same thing that we've been doing since Harvey. And we're going to continue to do that. So, thank you.
And one other question to Mr. Costello. on the HOAP deal, we are denied at the GLO if we got an SBA loan in order to rebuild our homes here. And that affects pretty much everybody who did not have flood insurance in Kingwood. And it's a GLO, I got a whole pass.
So Director Tom McCaslin, where's Tom now? Tom, can you help this gentleman maybe look over stuff and the SBA?
Are you the GLO? No. Okay.
So if you have an SBA loan, the GLO is not allowing you to get assistance, right? That's
if you got an SBA loan, the GLO, I got emails here, won't give us assistance.
We do not agree with the decision that the GLO is making, because essentially there are many people who got an SBA loan, and then it was our hope that when the additional dollars became available, that we will be able to assist people like yourself and others. GLO has made the decision that if you got the SBA loan, it's the effect of double dipping if we were to provide you with additional assistance. We do not agree with the GLO assessment, and we would encourage people to contact the GLO and to let them know that you do not agree with that assessment either.
Well, the President of the United States, both Senator and House Representative have contacted GLO, and so far they have not been very successful.
Keep going after him. Yes, sir.
I have a question. We live in Wood Stream Village in Kingwood. You talk a lot about mitigation plans, dredging and so forth for the west San Jacinto River. Is there much being done to address the east San Jacinto River, or is that within your jurisdiction? Or just enlighten us a little bit about what's being done there?
That's a great question, because we've been concentrating very hard on the west fork because that's where all the damage was done. And after Hurricane Imelda, we went out on the east fork, and we have as big, if not a bigger issue on the east fork with sediment. It's the same ongoing problem. We have sand that is flowing rapidly into our tributaries and causing us problems. So we have to do things, hopefully, when we go up there for the next 2 days and talk with the folks from FEMA and Crenshaw, we have the ability to do more of that. And that is, we've been concentrating so hard on the west fork, we sort of ignored the east fork, and we had some significant flooding in areas like Huffman, and in particular your area. So we need to we're going to have to focus our areas on the east fork moving forward as well. It's a 24-hour a day, 365 challenge that we have, and we're doing the best we can with the resources we have. That's why we need FEMA to approve our permit so we can begin dredging and capture that sediment and move it, because that's the only way we're going to be able to do it. But yes, yeah.
Just as a follow-up,
so the Ubley amendment that he set aside through Senate Bill 500, $30 million for Harris County. So Harris County is giving the city $10 million to continue the dredging of the Malcolm. The balance of those funds, which is $20 million, Harris County is going to backfill from their bond application that we all approved in August of 18. So now I got $30 million again. And what we're going to be doing with Harris County is developing a long-range plan for future dredging of both the West Fork, the lake, and the East Fork. But that plan is going to take a little while to develop for several reasons. One is we can't dredge all over and only have one disposal site, which is Barry Madden site. So part of the long-range plan is to find other disposal sites from, if you visualize 1960, all around that area on both sides. And so that'll be part of the plan. And then subsequent to that plan will be how we're going to do it on a continuous basis once we run out of the initial $30 million. The $30 million won't go very far. So part of the study effort will be not only to identify the sites and acquire the sites, but then to figure out how we're going to do it, who's going to pay for the long-term maintenance, and who will take charge of that. Will it be the city? Will it be the county? Will it be Harris County Flood Control District? So all I can say to you right now is we are thinking about it, and we're gonna start working on it, so stay tuned.
Yes, Jack?
I do want to make another comment. The flooding is obviously a big issue that we have all had and very much in our top of minds. Definitely, Dave, definitely appreciate all the work you did. The last meetings we've had there at the Lake Conroe with the St. Center River Authority is outstanding in support of Mayor Turner. Appreciate your support in that. What I want to make a comment about also, a great source of information is through Bob Rehak's ReduceFlooding.com. Bob's sitting right in the front row. Thank you, Bob, very much for being a focal point for all of that. That's one to go through also, and Bob does a great job of providing all the images and all the reports and statuses that you might be able to stay on top of also. So I just want to call that to everyone's attention as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. And thank you, Bob. Yes, sir.
Hi, Brian Colonna. I'm the president of the Homeowners Association for Lakeside Kings River, where East Candia lives. 43 of 47 homes in our neighborhood flooded. But I don't have a flooding question. So I like this North Park project. Is there something similar that's envisioned down the road for Kingwood Drive? And then I also noticed that with the tear down of my favorite crawfish shack there by the Torrey King Golf Course, that there's big work that's planned for 1960. Does anybody here have information that can show us what's going to go on?
I know there's big work on 1960 and 494 in Kingwood Drive. There's going to be another council member that attacks that. Because when we did the study, Stan can tell you this, the money was assigned to Kingwood Drive. This capital improvement project dollars were assigned specifically to Kingwood Drive. And every survey we did, every meeting we had, 50% of the people said, don't touch a tree, and the other 50% said, knock them all down and build in 8 lanes. And I was, even in my household, my wife said, don't knock a tree down, and I wanted 12 lanes. And I wasn't going to win that argument. So what we decided to do with the mayor's help is move the funds from Kingwood Drive to North Park Drive. By the way, North Park Drive, the most part of the road is in Montgomery County. It's illegal to use City of Houston tax dollars in a county that doesn't have taxpayers that benefit from it. So we had to go through the legal process with the mayor's help and with Ron Lewis, our city attorney's help, to identify that 98% of the people that use that road were City of Houston taxpayers. Thus, we took on the assignment and made sure that we had the ability to do that project. Here's what I would recommend to the next council member, because we're out of money. We don't have any more money, right, Stan, to do this, is that I think what we should do on Kingwood Drive is a direct connect over the railroad track like we're doing on North Park. The reason why is the railroads own the United States. They do whatever they want to do, and we can't stop them. So right now we have a north-south track that sends trains from north to south. They're constructing the bridge over the San Jacinto right now for dual lanes, so they're going to have a south-north track. So imagine the problem on Kingwood Drive when you have trains running north-south and south-north. It's going to be a mess. So North Park is going to be okay because we're going to have to fly over the tracks, but Kingwood Drive is not. And if I was the next council member working with the next mayor, whoever that's going to be, I would make sure that they have the ability to take Kingwood Drive and maybe not expand it, but to do a direct connect to 59 over the railroad tracks, because that will make a big difference. Because if you don't get ahead of it, it's a public safety issue because all our fire stations are on the east side of the railroad tracks, and we have massive projects in Oakhurst, in Lone Star College, and the hospitals on the west side. So imagine a fire or something happening over there. I don't want to witness it. So, but somebody else is going to take up that baton, not me. All right. Thank everybody for coming. Appreciate it, and God bless.